Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Architecture. I'm Margaret Castillo, the New York chapter president, and delighted everyone can be here. How many people have not been to the Center for Architecture before? Well, welcome to everyone. Unfortunately, you're between exhibits. Our Jugad Urbanism was just taken down, and coming in early June, we will have glimpses into the future, two water cities talking to one another. But we're delighted tonight to introduce this program. And I have the pleasure of introducing the Deputy Consul General. But first, I just wanted to say how pleased I am and very grateful for the Global Dialogues Committee to put this event together. Nushin Esam, who is our enthusiastic chair of Global Dialogues, led us to Havana, Cuba 2 years ago. And I also want to thank Motiko, who also was so instrumental in pulling this panel together. The AIA chapter is very committed with our committee, Global Dialogue. We've also introduced a new committee on risk, so we very much look forward to sharing best practices and initiatives between the two countries. In fact, just last week, we were part of a UN panel where the Consortium for Sustainable Urbanization met to talk about North-South sharing best practices. But I know you have a big program, so I want to just start by introducing Mr. Sashuhisha Kawamura, the Deputy Consul General of Japan, and thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
President Margaret, thank you very much for your kind introduction. My name is Yasuhisa Kawamura. I'm Deputy Consul General of Japan in New York. AIA Executive Director Bell, Professor Hasegawa, Mr. Kurumado, Mr. Sasaki, Ms. Shoboji, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have the honor to speak on the forum of Japan and the architecture's strengths after the earthquake. And I'd like to thank you very much for this splendid opportunity to speak. In centuries past, Japanese structures were generally light, squat, built with the understanding that they would eventually be destroyed by an earthquake, volcanic eruption, typhoon, flood, rainfall, or fire. To the contrary, modern Japanese building technology has proved itself in the magnitude 9 of March 11th. The fact that no buildings collapsed in Tokyo or in Shizuoka, other parts of Japan this year, and the amazing resilience of Sendai Mediatheque. And this will be discussed, I understand, by one of its designers, Mr. Mutsuro Sasaki, later on. But those structures stand as the testaments to how far we have come. And in fact, in the hardest hit areas of Japan's northeast, which is called Tohoku region, the vast majority of structural damage was caused by the massive tsunami, not the earthquake. And this is primarily due to the joint work by the government and the innovative private sector. On the part of Japanese government, we updated frequently the rigorous building codes. And in this right context, I would like to underline the Asia's Summit Leaders Meeting, which was held just last Sunday in Tokyo. The leaders of 3 countries, namely Japan, China, South Korea, gathered and agreed further enhancement of their cooperation for disaster prevention capabilities by sharing information and expertise. And finally, I would like to express my deep gratitude to the American Institute of Architects, which decided to host a conference to discuss the regions affected by the recent twin disasters from an architectural standpoint. As you are all aware, those areas are in dire need of assistance on many levels still. Our friends in the United States, from 10-year-old schoolgirl up to Mayor Bloomberg and President Obama, have offered tremendous material, monetary, fiscal, human, and moral support all over the last few weeks. And today's conference is truly gratifying as an example of intellectual and expert support for Japan's reconstruction efforts. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and truly thank all for your friendship and support for Japan. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nushin Ehsan, and on behalf of the Global Dialogue Committee of the American Institute of Architecture New York chapter and the newly formed Design for Risk Committee, I'd like to welcome you all. However, instead of my personal remark, I would like to invite you to join me in 30-second silence And I would like to yield the rest of my time to the guest speakers who have come from far distance to share their thought and their knowledge with us. And through dialogue, we hope that we can learn more about their most difficult time and find a way that collaborate with them to resolving it. I will pass the podium to our moderator, who is Mr. Professor Tro Hasegawa, and he is a professor at Columbia University teaching design, and he will introduce our speakers and the rest of the panelists. Many thanks.
Hi, my name's Toru Hasegawa. I think that was a very nice introduction from Noshin. So today we're kind of gathered today for this event, thanks to the AI committee, to kind of discuss this future of Japan. And we kind of put the secondary title Brainstorming because in some ways that was kind of this moment that it took all kind of notions of thoughts and really shook it to the ground, and we have to kind of start from scratch. So to kind of start out, let me just give you the basic flow of today's discussion is I'll be giving you guys an overview and somewhat the kind of purpose of this event. And Professor Sasaki from Hosei University, structure engineer, is going to give the kind of take on the Sendai Mediatheque and what was happening during the event. And we also have, firstly, we'll have Joji Kurumado. He's the general manager of Takenaka Corporation, and he would give his overview of the earthquake, as well as the research and the kind of almost reevaluation of their process. So let me. So I think everyone's kind of known Japan for Toyota, Honda, Aibo, Uniqlo, almost brand types. But I think over the past 2 months, everybody's kind of now know almost the profile of the country, because we've been seeing the tsunami warnings and almost all these locations. And just to kind of give you guys a geographic scale, for Europeans, I think Italy can be a pretty good comparison in size. And for the U.S., California is roughly the size. So this is a 1-to-1 scale comparison of the country. Now, the earthquake hit on March 11th, 2:46 in the afternoon, and it was obviously the largest earthquake that ever hit Japan to date. It's obviously like the 4th largest throughout the world's record as well. In addition, everyone knows that it kind of caused, beyond the kind of defensive system, to have the the power plant fail, as well as this kind of large damage from the tsunami. And it's estimated to be about $300 billion worth of damage, 5,500 people who got injured, 15,000 have died, 12,000 still missing, and over 125,000 buildings that are damaged and destroyed. So this event seeks to provide New York architects with insight with this connection of this tragedy and the built environment through the lens of these engineer and architects we have today that are extremely knowledgeable about Japan. They worked there, they built there, and they will share their kind of insights through the panel discussion of what we can kind of brainstorm today after given Professor Kurumado and Sasaki. So this was just to give you the really rough overlay is Sendai was the closest or the largest city closest to the actual the center of the earthquake, and this is a seismic scale, so it's not the magnitude scale. And Professor Kurumado has a better animation that talks about where and how that kind of force went through Japan. So I'll leave that to his presentation. But to just give you the kind of general coast of Japan, Japan's tsunami defense system was actually the world's strongest known defense system, but it easily topped over these sea walls, they call. And obviously everyone's probably seen these images, even through YouTube and live images, which are absolutely horrific. And when you see something like this where you obviously know the water was so high, it's pretty shocking. And these images obviously were all mostly already provided online, but Professor Kurumado has kind of brought their inside images that they've taken for kind of inside research and whatnot, which also brings a different light to the table today. So let me just go really quickly through these slides. But to give you somewhat of a basic distance, the seismic intensity that was closest to Sendai was roughly 111 miles away. In kilometers, about 180 kilometers. And to Tokyo, this was roughly 238 miles, so it's roughly 383 kilometers. And everyone's been looking at, you know, the radiation, pollution, and how much is flying. And while I was there, I'll talk a little bit later during my panel as well. I was in Tokyo, and they were around the range starting at 50 kilometers. Then it grew all the way to 200 kilometers. So there is this kind of level 7 that they call for nuclear plant kind of disasters. And that's roughly about 1/10 of Chernobyl. But obviously there's almost no point in measuring these devastation in some sense, but that was the scale at its disaster. So as you can see, the tsunamis obviously traveled up to 10 kilometers, 6 miles. I've sometimes heard 6 to 8 miles, so you could easily kind of predict how much almost square footage or even area covered. And that was roughly said to be roughly about 8 times Manhattan. So you can fit 8 Manhattans in this kind of washed out area. Now, even the airport was also flooded. And above all these images of usual weights just don't make any sense at this scale. And obviously the Fukushima. And this was said to have a defense system that was 5-meter wall that was, or easily topped at 15 meters. And the effect doesn't just remain in the Tohoku area, which means east-north of Japan. And this also came down to Chiba and Tokyo, where this is a liquefaction of the ground. And obviously, again, you probably have seen the YouTube videos of actual grounds cracking and waters kind of flooding out. Now, just as a few initiatives of the government is actually sorting waste from the disaster.